Hi, I'm Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. We're at the Eisenhower Presidential Library, Museum, and Boyhood Home in the office of Dwight David Eisenhower up here on the top floor with Dawn Hammett, the Executive Director. Good morning, ma'am.
Welcome back.
See my full display of pens here? I'm now a billboard for you,
yes,
for the Community Foundation, and of course for Eagle Communications, ourself.
It's like a board of medals.
It is. Kind of like General Weiss.
I'll call you that from now on.
Okay, you can do that. You're allowed. So we have a beautiful day outside. My goodness, is the campus gorgeous as I slowed down and walked slowly across it today.
It is beautiful.
Oh my. Watch people walking around. There were 6 or 7 people at the memorial site over there, and there were people coming from the Boyhood Home. I thought, what a wonderful day to be right here, right now.
I'm going to agree with you, but I'm also just really tired of winter.
Yes, well, that's because you are representing the South.
I am.
Yes. So my wife is in the upstairs of the school building, downstairs in Broadway, and it's exceedingly hot upstairs.
Is it?
Yes, and it's exceedingly hot upstairs. So the thermostat's down in the other end, and so we found out yesterday there's a gentleman here from Kenya, and it's very comfortable for him. See, same thing.
Maybe that's where my office needs to
be. You have to adapt. So, what's coming up this summer, other than a beautiful time on the campus?
Well,
right
do you
here?
want to start with programming, or do you want to start with the exhibit?
Hey, you're the boss.
Okay, well, let's talk about the exhibit first, because we're very excited.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure you've had a construction project in your own life, and it just sort of takes a little while for all the little pieces to fall into place.
Yes.
That's where we are. We're ready to get started working on the exhibit plan, but we're still sort of making details with the contractors. So we're not quite ready to say when the doors are going to be locked, when the exhibit is going to be struck, things like that. However, you noticed as you were walking through, we're building an exhibit right now, aren't we?
Yes, you are, and that is going to be a continually open exhibit.
That's correct. So the Ike exhibit is being constructed right now in the library, so that once the contractors are ready to enter the museum building, the exhibit in the library building will be ready. Do
you have some other interesting plans to show people things while we're reimagining the museum? Yes.
During the summer, especially, that's our heightened tourism season, of course. So during the summer, we are planning to have more programmatic opportunities for our guests. So one of the things we're already planning is a Why Like Ike Wednesday. And you should love the Why Like Ike programs.
I do. So you mean I can come watch them after being in them?
If that makes you happy.
And have popcorn?
If that makes you happy.
It might. So they're so fun, it would be okay to live them twice.
Well, you don't see them often enough to really sort of, internalize everything in it anyway. So we're going to have Why Like Ike Wednesdays. The curators will pull objects that go along.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you will be back, won't you?
This will be fun.
You'll be here every Wednesday.
Yes.
So we had White Glove Weekends in the fall, perhaps.
Right.
And so it's going to be the same sort of thing where the curators pull objects that go along with the Why Like Ike story. You'll watch the Why Like Ike show, and then the curators will talk about whatever objects they pulled that go along with that.
That sounds fun. And I think it especially sounds fun for the people traveling in an RV with 3 kids. We can sit down in here in this air-conditioned building, and the kids can watch a movie about Browning automatic rifle.
Right.
That'll be a good
And then there it'll be with somebody telling you, answering all your questions about it.
That's a superior idea right there.
I'm sure it was a team effort to come up with something that fantastic.
That's good. It always is, isn't it?
Yep.
So, one of the things I've enjoyed about the Why Like Ike series is getting to know some of the people that I'm not used to doing business with here on camera. So Jeff and Troy, we've become friends.
Right.
We see each other on the street and say hi and all of that, but their expertise in their field is amazing. And the world doesn't get to meet Jeff and Troy very often, right?
Right. And Troy, I don't know if you know this, but Troy's working on his dissertation.
Is he?
Yeah. We're very excited to have a new PhD. He told me the title of the dissertation, and I got to be honest, I don't remember.
Troy, you have to let us know what that is.
I don't remember.
It'll be good.
It was good.
It'll be good. Yeah. So we love these things because they're just good. But the mission of Dwight David Eisenhower, the guy on the wall, carrying this vision forward. Sometimes it's building a new temporary exhibit out here so we can reimagine and reinvent the museum space. Sometimes it's a Why Like Ike. Sometimes it's just talking to the executive director about how things are going. But the mission never changes.
Mission never changes.
Yeah.
No. And we're really honored to promote his legacy. All of us.
Indeed, indeed. So, what else is going on?
This is the
summer
symphony.
is always, you said, tourist time.
Tourist
185, 200,000 people drift through here every year. And summertime, Abilene harvests a lot of economic activity off of the people coming to the Eisenhower Presidential Library. But in order to have people continue to come, you have to do things.
We have to do things, absolutely.
And you've got some things.
So this is the poster. Do you need to hold it up? This is the poster for the Symphony at Sunset, our annual symphony. Everybody's aware of it, I know.
Yes.
It's an exceptional event. Last year, it was my day 4 of my employment here when we had the symphony last year. Do you remember that?
I do. I do. I remember what day 1 was, too. A Why Like Ike that you weren't even on the job yet.
Yeah, you're right. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So this symphony is on June 2nd. It's always the first Saturday in June. The symphony, the Salina Symphony, is planning the music, planning the concept. We've gotten in touch with our food vendors. We've gotten in touch with the Arts Council so that they can provide programs or activities for the children. It's really fun, and what a great event.
It's an unbelievably cool event. It doesn't matter from what walk of life you are, you will enjoy this event. My favorite, you didn't ask, but I'm telling you anyway.
I like when you do.
So this guy right here, when he and his buddies blow those horns.
You like that?
Holy mackerel. So
that's the first
ID
infantry?
band,
Yeah.
holy mackerel. It just pounds your chest. And the Salina Symphony's playing with them, by the way. So it is an amazing experience to set up close to that and feel that music.
I like when you can feel the music.
Oh, it's unbelievable. If you haven't been, you have to come.
Well, and of course, we'll have the local VFW and American Legion helping with commemoration of our veterans and noticing the veterans in the audience, which is really moving.
It is. You know, it's kind of a little heartbreaking too. You look at the people who come, and we have some very faithful veterans of World War II still in our area. And sometimes they need a little help to stand up and take that salute.
That's true.
Yeah. So glad that we're here to do that.
I am too.
To not only honor them, but help them stand up and take that salute.
And we're working with some Vietnam programming.
So I was hoping you would bring that up. That's next week. I'm so excited.
It will have passed by the time this airs, though.
Right, but for me it's next week. Sitting in front of those people. I'm so excited about that. I can't hardly stand it. So you get to tell them what it is.
Well, we'll have programming to commemorate our Vietnam veterans. We have panel discussions and a keynote speaker. The keynote speaker will put the Vietnam War into context. You know, people my age aren't necessarily that close to the events of Vietnam, and so we'll need a refresher course to help us remember.
We call that the whippersnapper courses.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but. And then we have some historians who will talk about American policy, federal policy. And then we have another panel with veterans who will discuss their experiences. And I can't imagine sitting through, I'm a military family, so I'm going to be a weepy, emotional wreck.
You can buy Kleenex in multiple packages.
I'll have to do that.
So my excitement is your communications director asked me if I would bring that camera and sit down and collect some oral histories from individuals.
Yeah, we need to do that.
I'm looking forward to that in all sincerity as a task that I'm privileged to do.
Well, thank you.
When we went and did the interviews at Fort Leavenworth a long time ago now, 21 folks up there, spent 3 days capturing those young men and women. Life-changing experience for both me and my wife, who was camera number 2 on that event. I'm similarly looking forward to this, the chance to help you archive this material. It's just, such a privilege.
Well, as we're having this conversation, we should make sure that the community knows if they have stories that they would like to share, if they're veterans and they would like to participate in this, to contact the library.
Yes.
And our programming person will do whatever magic needs to be done to have that happen.
So I'm watching a movie the other night at home, and with Elizabeth and my son, and some movie, right? So the fellow, the star of the movie, is a veteran from the Gulf endeavors, and so he's in this kind of tense situation face to face with another person, and he says, "So, do you know how many veterans commit suicide every day?" And I said out loud, 22. So it went on a little bit, then he answered that question, 22. And Elizabeth looked at me and I said, we learned that at the Eisenhower Presidential Library because of their outreach to that group. And I said, but the good news, honey, is that the last time that we were presented with that number, that currently we're sitting at 19, and even though 19 is a horrible number of suicides, it's better than 22.
Perhaps we're doing, collectively, we're getting some work done.
Yeah, and a task that needs done. And again, for us, the heart and soul of this effort stands behind the image and the legacy of Dwight David Eisenhower.
Well, we know how supportive he was of the troops, of course. He was a soldier as well. And so to us, that's part of our mission here as well, to continue to support our service members.
Yeah. All right, so the reimagining phase. So behind the scenes, it's going to be a lot of you and the contractor doing what are we going to do and schedules, and that's all the stuff that fortunately we are removed from, right? But so I'm going to jump forward through the space of time here, and we're going to talk about when the public can take advantage of that. I am so looking forward to walking through with people on that first trip.
We are too.
I want to be there. I want to see the value of that on their faces, and I'm confident we will. You
know, one of the things that we're also talking about with the redesigned space is that we have to change our K-12 educational programming to meet the new spatial needs. So we're going to have to create new programs or new activities that happen within the exhibits. But because of the space changing, they have, in the plan we have 3, I'm calling them pits, like educational pits, where kids can sort of stop and collect, and their facilitator, their teacher, can have a moment within the galleries of discussion or contemplation. So over by the D-Day table by the Mulberry Harbor,
the Hall of Great Decisions,
will be one place where the whole class can stop. In the center, where we're talking about the speech writing and the importance of the written and spoken word, will be another. And then at the end, where we do a wrap-up film, will be a third space where the kids can just sort of stop, take a moment, maybe have a little conversation.
You know, I know because this is Dwight David Eisenhower's Presidential Library, that the only name we want to stamp on anything is Dwight David Eisenhower. But I want to say to you that what a privilege it will be for you to have been the administrator over this event. Fundamentally changing our opportunity with young people is something that Dwight David Eisenhower would be very proud of his soldier doing. So job well done,
Thank
soldier.
you. So to me, museums have sort of 3 feet, if you will. They have their collection, they have their exhibits, and they have education. And to me, if you don't have all 3, you have a shaky foundation. And so additionally, education is a lifelong process. So when I'm talking about educational programming, it could be for me and you. It could be for a special veterans group. And it's also K through 12. It's all of us. We all have to learn more.
I think of education in Kansas. We hear about education almost every day now, but it's talking about educational funding more than education. We're still talking about money, not product. But as a person of 60 years old and life experiences and that sort of thing, and I still have a 17-year-old son, I look at education as a larger ball.
It really
I
is.
look at education as this is education. A trip through that museum has always been education, but the trips through the museum that you're building have special opportunities with the focus on content and learning styles of the generation you're trying to reach.
True.
What an opportunity that's going to be to change outcomes.
Well, one of the things we've also learned in museum education is that museums provide an opportunity for a student to love learning. So the takeaway isn't necessarily a fact or a concept. The takeaway is a lifelong love of learning, and that is extremely important. So we are teaching, when students come here, we are teaching them these specific things, this curriculum. But what we're really trying to get them to do is just love learning forever.
Such a wonderful to do. If we met that challenge, all the rest of them disappear.
Right.
You don't need $20 million to educate a kid. If the love of learning is there, they will learn if you hand the material to them. So I had a class to teach on Saturday, and my son was going to go with me. And so we get up early that morning, and he said, Dad, he said, boy, we missed a big event yesterday. And I go, what was the big event? And he says, it's 73rd anniversary yesterday, Dad. And he said, you don't know what? I said, no, I don't know what yesterday was the 73rd anniversary of. He said, the sinking of the Yamada, the big Japanese.
That boy knows everything.
Well, he knows what he loves, right? So he knows what he loves. But that's your point. If you present somebody an opportunity to do what they love, they will learn it. So the Why Like Ike series that we've done, all of the different things that you have presented to me on the table that we could discuss and that are here and will be out there when you're talking about the world, there is something for everybody. There's something that everybody can learn from because they will love it.
I agree. But you've clearly had an educator in your life that motivated you to love learning.
Yes, absolutely.
Perhaps it was your family, but there was somebody in your life.
Yeah, I think it started with our family. We were readers, maybe because we lived in a mountain canyon with no television, but we were readers. So that kind of started me. But I had a couple of teachers in high school, really, that gave us opportunity, that said, well, we can do this or we can do this. Right. And so that was fundamental, I guess, shift for me. But I think really for us as a community is for the community to understand this is more than a presidential library. This is more than a museum, more than a boyhood home. This is probably a just as important educational institution as K-State, KU, or anybody else when it comes to opportunity to learn. It's presented in a different format, in a different medium, but the learning here, you could degree program about anything. And we really try to make sure that we have educational programming that meet the educational styles of everyone. So I'm a kinesthetic learner. I want to touch it and move it. And that's why I have to have white gloves. But Tim Reeves is a reader. He reads and learns. Yeah. So we have to do all of those things. So tell us, because we've talked about it 2 or 3 times, talk about the little pods, the little pits there, and how you're reaching out to young people with technology. Explain that again. Okay. Well, I'll talk about all of the technology in the museum instead. We'll have, I'm going through the exhibit in my head. We have these things in museums called reader rails, and they're about waist high, and there's information, right? In front of a case. So within several of the reading rails, there'll be a touchscreen computer where you will get more in-depth information about something that's connected to this topic. There's going to be a component where we discuss the whole World War II, because this is for visual learners. It'll be a visual representation that it was a world war, that everyone was involved in this war.
There's going to be linear films. We call them linear films because it's just there's a beginning and there's an end.
Right.
For the Mulberry Harbor, where we discuss the invasion and the resupply of our troops. There's going to be touchscreen components for during the presidency, where we're talking about his domestic or his international policies.
Okay.
So in the civil rights exhibit, there'll be some sort of an interactive.
And if we touch the screen on that, we get more information.
Exactly. And the content of that hasn't really been developed yet. So all of those things are still in development.
Hasn't been developed yet. Does that mean I might have a input on something?
Well, how could you not have input?
Okay, boy, that's the best news I've heard all day. So Dave gave me the two, so we've got about a minute to wrap this up. Of all the things we've done here, the chance to look forward for me is the most exciting, because we're looking forward with all of the wisdom and facts of the past at our fingertips.
That's true.
At our fingertips. But to look forward to the future is the essence of solving problems. My goodness, look at what we have to do it with.
Isn't it wonderful?
It is so very exciting. Don Hammett, thank you for inviting me here.
We love when you're here.
Well, I love it when I'm here as well. So let me see, we'll be here again in about a month.
You're always welcome.
On a Thursday, and we'll make another great Our Town show. Talk about Dwight David Eisenhower, all the things going on here at the museum, library, boyhood home. Can't think of anything else we need to touch on. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communications, the top pen. I love what I do for Eisenhower. Don Hammett is in charge of the Presidential Library through the Office of Executive Director, and we're wishing you a terrific day.